it should be a crime to what's being done to these animals should be the crime, and rescuing them obviously shouldn't be.
Yes, so from my personal perspective, obviously what we do to animals is criminal, and it is crime against animals, but the film is about this specific kind of people who try to change the law by breaking the law.
Oh, I love this.
Right?
Yeah.
And go onto these places to put light in places that are not open to the public, that don't want people to know.
Hi everyone, and welcome back to another episode of the podcast. Today's episode features Rebecca Loviconi. She's an investigative filmmaker and photojournalist who goes into factory farms to document what's really happening behind closed doors. Now, she's a filmmaker behind Slay, which is a documentary exposing the fashion industry's use of fur and animal skins. And she's my personal inspiration. I met Rebecca last year and we quickly became really close. She's an amazing power woman. She's a true activist with so much incredible talent. So yeah, in this episode, we talk about her experience going into factory farms. We discuss the wool and the fashion industry. And we also discuss her upcoming documentary, Crime or Rescue, which follows activists who break the law to save animals from cruelty. So yeah, I really enjoyed having Rebecca on the podcast, and if you want to keep up with her work or get updates on Crime or Rescue, you can find her on Instagram. The link is in the description of this episode. So yeah, without further ado, please enjoy my conversation with Rebecca.
Hi Rebecca, thank you so much for being on the podcast with me today. It's an honor to have you here. Could you give the listeners a bit of an introduction about who you are and what you do?
Sure, and I'm so happy to be here with you and do that in person, especially since we are living in different places. So I am a filmmaker. A lot of what I do is investigative filmmaking, and I'm also a photojournalist. I work as a photographer, and I work alongside investigators to go in certain places to share, with people what's going on behind closed doors of factory farms. So that's my main focus. And I use a lot of storytelling to, reach more people.
Yeah. I mean, honestly, I was a big fan of you before I met you, because I watched your film Slay. I watched your documentary, and I was such a big fan. So I'm so happy to have you as a friend now as well, and as a colleague. And yeah, it's amazing
that's the best.
What you do. And I think I would love for that kind of to be the focus of this episode, for you to kind of share everything. Not everything, because there's a lot, but some of the moments of what you've witnessed inside a factory farm. But before all that, maybe just a bit more about you. So do you come from like a filmmaking background? Is that how you kind of went into it? Or what's your background in that?
So I don't come from a filmmaking background, but I always was writing. Growing up, I was writing as early as being a kid. Like I was a kid, I was writing stories. I wrote some novels my whole teenage years up until my 20s. Wow. And I really wanted to become a journalist early on, but I was also already on a path to work in China, and so I had to make a choice. And when I was in my early 20s, I was like, well, being a journalist in China means, a certain path. You're going to have to commit, and politically it's going to be hard for you, and are you ready for that? And I wasn't ready. So I decided to try to work in media, which at that time also there wasn't a lot of media opportunities in China, for foreign companies, for instance. Mm-hmm. And so, I ended up working in diplomacy for a while, and then in more like a corporate, in sales a lot, in corporate environments. And then one day my worldview kind of changed or evolved suddenly to realizing what we humans do to animals. And so I just stopped my career and decided to dedicate myself to that.
Nice. Do you remember the first time you entered a factory farm?
I think that was for Slay, and that was fur farms, and that was in China. Wow. So I can't really share too many details, but we had a special kind of access, and it was in broad daylight. But just seeing, again, rows and rows of animals in cages was, it's just so sad. And so that was my first experience, I would say. And then things started to escalate, and I started to do more work inside factory farms, mostly in Europe. I've also did some photography work in the US, in let's say feedlots, which are open air factory farms, basically. Yeah. But it's just not constrained in a building.
Sure.
And so, yeah, I've documented.
So which conditions would you say you have seen from farms, from which animals and
so I've been in chicken farms, hens, egg farms, lots of pig farms, dairy farms.
Yeah.
Like I said, like open air, beef, feedlots, fur farms, kind of across the board, and duck farms as well, and foie gras as well.
Yeah, foie gras.
Yeah.
It's so crazy because for me, I obviously edit videos and I watch the footage that you probably take and you're in that. But even watching it, it's already so distressing that I can't even imagine for you to actually be there and witness it yourself. It must, because you're having all your senses, you're having, and the smell and everything. Is there anything you would like to share about that aspect?
I think one thing that people who have worked and who continue to work in the field say, is that nothing prepares you for the first time you enter a factory farm. Because, like you said, it's not just the visual, it's the sound, it's the screams in the silence, it's the isolation, it's the way everything is built to maximize profit at the expense of the animal's pain and suffering. And the smells are really overwhelming as well. So it's like really an assault on your senses. Some investigators I've worked with have said that. And so there's that aspect.
And how about like connecting to the animals and stuff? Like, have you went in and like really like connected to any of the animals there, and like, what was that experience like?
For me, I just got to a point where now it brings me peace to be present and document animal suffering, because there is an element of, the way I call it is, you are at 0 point of truth. There is no denial. It's reality. And it's a reality that we know exists when we see videos, but to be present is something very, very powerful, of being present where that thing is happening, and to really witness it with your own eyes and also document it. And so for me, there's a lot of peace that comes into that, and also in everything that comes before entering, where you have to be hyper focused, you have to, it's timed, you have to take some precautions. And again, I'm just speaking in my name and not in all investigators' names, but for me, it is something that brings me, again, peace. Maybe, I'm not thinking about anything else. I'm not distracted by anything else. And it's just being fully present. And of course, it's painful. But at the same time, if you ask me in that moment, would you be anywhere else in the world? I asked myself that, when the first time I was on fur farms in China, like one of the farms were really, really bad. There was a lot of dead animals, the smells, the crying. You hear them cry. And you see them really in pain. In the case of fur farms, they are on wire cages, so it's also very painful for them. They're never comfortable. They're always like in their tiny cages. And the thing is, I did ask myself that day, I'm like, okay, would you rather be in a 5-star hotel spa right now? And the answer was no. It's not even a question. Like, I was exactly where I was supposed to be. And so when I work in that environment, I feel like I am exactly where I should be and doing exactly what I should be doing. Even if it's painful, it's something that has meaning for me now. And so it's a bit twisted, maybe it's hard to understand, but for me, you feel tethered. Like, I feel like I have to come back. And I think some people who work in that space feel that way. It's like, once you know and you've seen and you've documented and it's not one time, it's never enough. Some of us, we just feel a pull to go back again and again and again. It's just like we can't stay away.
It's just like, maybe if it's like it's your responsibility to document it and send it out to the world, because obviously it's so isolated and people don't know about it and about what happens. Do you think that if a regular person in the supermarket would be able to see and go maybe visit the farm like that, do you feel like it would change their whole perception of like animal farming today?
I think a lot of people would, because it's just easy to buy a finished packaged product and exonerate ourselves from all responsibility. Everything is so designed to disconnect us from what that choice really, really means. And so obviously there's the culture conditioning, but I think especially it's like we have the packaged product in a bright environment, it's public, it's legal, everything is fine. And so we have these body parts that are packaged, and it's just the normal thing to do. You know, it's kind of like not normal when you don't consume that, right? Because we are a small percentage of people who have decided to say no to that and who don't want to participate in that. And so when we see that, we don't understand, like, language is used to disconnect us from what it is. We say meat, we don't say, you know, the flesh and the body, and you know, it's just sad. And we've been conditioned to see something like a rotting corpse as food. And so this is so ingrained that it's easy to feel disconnected. So I think if more people would see, I think there will always be a percentage of people who will not care. And for me, like, these are not the people I'm talking to, and I'm not even like spending time trying to convince people. My role is just to say, this is what you should know, and now it's up to you. And again, for social change, which is what we want to do with our work, we need to remind ourselves that we don't need to convince 100% of the people. We need like a percentage of people to get to a tipping point.
And it's so interesting because I do feel like they see the meat and it's a dead animal, and they're kind of like okay with it because it's already dead, and it's like, but they don't see the live version of the animal, and they don't see the killing. So it's like that part is what people like, people love animals and live animals, and wouldn't want to see them killed. So it's very interesting that like people are okay with seeing, because sometimes they do have the whole leg or whatever of a cow in the butcher. Like, people are very accustomed to seeing the dead versions, but they're not like, they make that connection to it being a live animal once, and it being like an animal that's like a dog, the similar, you know, like, it's very interesting that disconnect. And that's where your videos come in, to show them like, okay, because they're not able to see to visit the farm, so your videos help them hopefully make that connection.
Well, for me, again, I was disconnected, and so I used to see these body parts and seeing them as products and like the normal thing, you know, like the ham leg and things like that. And it's like, oh, of course you want to buy this, you know, this is, you're addicted to the taste or whatever, like, you just like you're just used to that, you don't think about things. And so I came, like, it's not like I always knew, but it's once you reconcile that in you. For me, again, I'm playing a really small part. Like, there's tons of people before me who have been documenting, you know, slaughter and factory farms, and these are the people who really hugely inspire me. And so I'm not a full-time investigator. I'm very much like a hybrid of filmmaker, storyteller, and I like to be in these spaces because, again, there's no denial is the truth, and I think people have a right to know.
Nice. Maybe you could share one or two farms you...
The thing is, you see these videos, and so you know that it exists. But once you are present and there, and you see it with your own eyes, and you hear the sounds and the cries and the suffering, and you feel and smell the suffering as well, it's completely different, because it's like, oh my god, it really exists,
right?
You know, like, this is not just one video. This video, it is standard. It's like very large scale. It's everywhere, and it's sometimes it's, you know, some cities you have a slaughterhouse in the city. Sometimes it's just like, you know, you're driving and it's a beautiful countryside. For example, when we were shooting Slay, we are, you know, imagine driving in Australia and you see on the other side of the fence, you know, sheep that look very happy. They are outside and they are running in the field, and you're like, oh my god, I wish I was a sheep, right? And then no, you don't. Because there's so much mutilation, there's so much neglect, there's so much suffering, there's so much like sheep and lambs who die just as a collateral damage of this industry that ever wants like bigger and bigger numbers, that it's just an illusion. The whole thing is an illusion, and that's the part that we see. And then there's the part that is hidden. You would be, you know, in a beautiful city in Italy, and just 30 minutes drive away, you are in the filthiest pig farm that you've ever seen, that is in the Parma ham supply chain. So it's just it's both in plain sight but also hidden. And it's it just messes with your mind.
And what's talking about the sheep stuff, when I watched Slay, I think the most impactful scene for me in that was talking about the lambs who are born in a season where it's very cold, and they do this for some type of profit reason, as I remember it. And I just remember that you said that these lambs are so cold that they die a lot of them die. Maybe you could talk a little bit about this scene.
Yes, and so basically in Australia, we investigated the wool industry, the merino wool that is, again, marketed as sustainable and great and ethical and all of that. But of course, like, first of all, sheep are bred and exploited for their wool and their flesh, and they all end up in slaughter. Yeah. But to make a complex topic simple, winter lambing is a common practice. So the lambs are born in winter because it will save cost of the feed. You know, they can grow in the spring when there's more grass instead of supplementing feed in the summer.
That's the reason. Okay.
Exactly. And so, but of course, actually Australia can be very, very cold, and the winters can be very brutal. So you have these baby lambs. A lamb that is newborn cannot regulate his or her temperature on their own. Yeah. And so they need their mothers. And that's why in nature, babies are born in spring, not in the winter. And so as a result of that, you have these lambs that a lot of them die of hypothermia. A lot of them are just too weak, and the mothers, leave them behind, or the mothers die while giving birth. And so one thing that I didn't put in the film that was quite sad was, if you go over a fence of these, beautiful hills, with sheep and lambs, if you go near trees, you will find a few more dead baby lambs. And that's because it's a little bit warmer because of the roots of the trees. Whoa. That really broke my heart. We didn't put in the film because it's so sad, because they're so tiny. They just came into this world and they're looking for a tiny bit of warmth. Yeah. So you go at this bottom of the trees and just, you see their little bodies, and it's just so heartbreaking to think about.
But where are their mothers then?
So again, some of them die in birth, during birth. Some of the mothers die when they give birth. Some of them, the industries have also been selectively breeding sheep to have more twins and triplets. So some of them are just weaker and cannot keep up. There's so many things, there's a predator. Like it's just like very, very standard. And so when we went, I, of course, knew and trusted the activists I was working with when they said, once you cross the fence, you're going to see dead lambs, and we are looking for orphan lambs. But I really thought, okay, are we really going to find an orphan lamb like day one? Maybe we have to stay a few more days and go again and again. And that wasn't the case. We crossed the fence, and in 20 minutes, we found this lamb that we named Foggy, that was wandering around in the dark on his own. Yeah. His mother had died in childbirth, and during birth, right? And he was just alone in the night, like trying to make sense of the world, and we just happened to be there at that time, and that's why he, was taken with us and given a good life. But
So on the subject of wool, then, like, a lot of people will assume that sheep need to be sheared for. Yeah. Like naturally, and then they don't see it as a cruel product, but like Uggs, for example, they should be exposed for the cruelty that they...
So I ended up actually filming in the original Ugg production factory. Yeah.
Could you share more about that?
Yeah, sure. I said I was a student.
You said I was a student. You were a student?
I was a bit younger. It went through. It's like, I don't know. Like I was like, I'm a student, and I just came up with some story, and I'm like, oh, we're just filming. We have an assignment.
I love it.
And can we look around? And of course, they're very proud of what they do. So we did end up like filming inside the original Ugg creator, Sheepskin, like tons of footage of like piles of sheepskin.
This is like in a factory.
This is in Australia, yeah.
So where the wool comes into the factory, and then how it produces into the Ugg.
So it's not the wool. In the case of Ugg, for example, it's sheepskin and lambskin. So it's the skin and the wool, right? And so basically, all the lambs that are killed for slaughter, their skin and wool is, is a product. And so that goes into everything from car seat, footwear, and a lot
It
of things.
is so nasty to me that all these designer brands like Chanel and etc. They like their leather is either calf skin or lamb skin. I've noticed like those are them, and that's like advertised too. Like this one is more hard grain, and this is calf leather, and this is
Yes.
Yeah, and that's so crazy to me.
And you know why? It's because baby skin is softer.
Right.
They don't have a scratch.
It's so messed. Like,
it is so sick.
Like if you think of the babies, like human babies also have really like nice skin, and so like
That's
it makes
the same
sense that
principle.
the baby animals also have nice skin.
Yes.
And that's why that's luxury leather.
Exactly. And in essence, all animals are babies in the sense that, you know, they're all killed before their natural lifespan.
True.
But especially in fashion, there is an appetite for baby animal skins, which is absolutely sick.
Yeah, it is really, really sick. Especially because it's like luxury to have baby. Like it's just, you can't make it up.
Yeah. No, you can make it up. And it's just crazy. And there's even more than that. You know, like some gloves, high-end gloves are made from stillborn skin. Even softer, right?
Stillborn skin.
Yeah, and there's a whole industry called Svakara, which is basically a type of lamb that has a very curled fur when they are born and stillborn. So you have farms that produce stillborn baby fur from lambs, and it's a whole thing. And of course, it's not called that now.
Yeah,
it's called Svakara, right?
All right.
Or Astrakhan. And so it's very sick.
Yeah.
Crocodile skins, same, you know, like crocodile are violently killed when they are about 1 year old, when a crocodile can live up to 70 years old. So the whole thing is really, really twisted. And that is packaged as luxury. For me, like, honestly, like, leather and all these products are just a big scam.
Yeah. Yeah. Could you share a little bit about your new documentary that you're working on?
So I am working on a new documentary called Crime or Rescue. Crime or Rescue is a documentary about people who disagree with animal abuse and who actually walk into places where animals are exploited and are suffering to liberate animals. So, of course, like, I think everyone knows about the Ridglan dog rescue. So that is something that I've been following for 2.5 years, and I was waiting for a mass action, and it's really amazing that it happened, and it happened the way it happened. But also the activists that I follow, namely Wayne Young and Rose Patterson, they actually fell in love during production. And they got married during production. So
I didn't know this.
You didn't know this?
No, I didn't know.
So, yeah, like they connected somewhat, of course, through what they do.
Yeah.
Because they both, you know, doing open rescues, but Rose is in the UK, Wen is in the US.
Yeah.
So they had heard of each other's work, but through my production, basically, they kind of became more aware of each other and they started connecting.
Is this showing in the documentary?
Yes.
Cute.
And I have like Zoom calls where they, you know, they are starting their relationship remotely because Rose is not allowed in the US still to this day. Wayne was not allowed to leave the US for a while.
Oh my God.
Because they both have like so many
cases and
felony
stuff.
cases and everything. And so, we follow that. And we have people, and then they meet, and then they start their relationship, and they got married like really quickly too. So it's part of the story as well. But
of course. It's a great like storyline.
It's part of it. It happened naturally. Like literally, there were like some of the two people that I was really focusing on and following for a while. And so for me, Crime or Rescue is very much a love story, and I'm not just talking about the love story between these two characters, but it's a love story for animals, you know? What do you do out of love? Out of love for animals, out of love for justice, and out of love for doing the right thing. Like, how far would you go?
Yeah, because they went far. They go far.
They go far.
For the beagles,
For the beagles, for other animals, for pigs, for hens, for chickens, for lambs, like all animals. And so I think it's, that's really, I think, the message of the film. And, you know, I'm not saying like we should agree or disagree with them. It's just like this is a story, and I think it's a story worth telling.
I'm so excited.
I'm excited too. I'm really excited too.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's amazing. And then does it tackle the issue of whether it's a crime or rescue?
Exactly.
You know, because it talks about because they're obviously being charged for saving animals. So it does talk about
and
that part.
Rose was acquitted from the beagle rescue in the UK, while some other activists from that same action on different trials were found guilty.
Yeah.
And so the film is really not to tell people what to think.
Sure.
And answering that question. It's just, here is what you should know.
Yeah.
And then the title is asking really a question to the audience, like, is it a crime or is it a rescue?
Yeah, because it should be, and if I were to be able to answer the question, I would say that it should be a crime to what's being done to these animals should be the crime, and rescuing them obviously shouldn't be.
Yes, so from my personal perspective, obviously what we do to animals is criminal, and it is crime against animals, but the film is about this specific kind of people who try to change the law by breaking the law.
Oh, I love this.
Right?
Yeah.
And go onto these places to put light in places that are not open to the public, that don't want people to know.
Yeah.
And so it's great. For me, I've been working, because of that film, I've been working with on direct action and open rescue and covert rescues as well for 2.5 years. And this is something that has given me hope in terms of, it just helps me. It just makes me feel good to know that there are people who are willing to do so much for animals. I think it's really some of the best of humanity.
I love it, and it's actually so crazy if you think about what's legal, that what's being done to animals today is legal, like blows my mind, you know what I mean? Like,
absolutely.
That beagles are legally allowed to be tested on in these facilities and tortured. That these animals are tortured and sent to slaughter. Like, all of this, that the fact that that's legal is like, that could be a topic for your next documentary. How is this legal?
I know.
You know what I mean? Like, when you look at the legalities, that's why these activists, they go in, because it shouldn't be legal what is being done to them, and they're bring that to light through that rescue.
Yes, and they are also working to change law to have a right to rescue. Because, for example, if you are on a factory farm and you have animals who are just left to die because it would be too costly and just impractical to have a veterinarian, care for every single sick animal who's struggling. These activists are fighting for the right to rescue, to say, if I find a dying animal on the floor of a factory farm, whether it's a dog, a piglet, or, then I should have the right to rescue. It's like, you walk in the street and it's a hot day and you have a dog in a hot car. By law, you actually can smash the window and take the dog out. And so it's kind of the same thing in terms of, you have these dogs, in the case of the beagles, who are in these factory farms on wire cages that are just bred solely for the purpose of animal testing. And these activists argue that they should have a right to rescue.
Yeah.
Especially when these places have been, recognized of animal cruelty, and there's been tons of violations that have been documented there.
Exactly, 100%.
Yeah.
And do we have a date of release?
We do not have a date. I do hope to release it this year, though.
Okay.
I think it's like,
and
we could be close.
How can people be in touch with you to be able to watch that once it comes out?
I think the best thing to do is I post all updates on my account. Media. Yeah, social media. Mostly Instagram.
Yeah. Perfect. You mentioned that you entered an egg farm, and I've watched some of the undercover footage that's out there in egg farms, and it just blows my mind when I see all those rows of chickens cramped in these cages, and all these eggs laying there, and like, it really blows my mind that this is how, when you buy eggs in the supermarket, that they're coming from these hens in these cages. And I mean, what was that experience like for you entering an egg farm?
I actually documented a high welfare egg farm where there's no cages.
Free range?
Yes, because they do have access to outdoor during the day.
Okay.
And there were no cages, and it's so-called high welfare RSPCA assured egg farm, and I went in alongside Animal Rising in the UK.
Okay.
Yeah. And so, I have footage and images from that place where one barn is housing 64,000 hens.
64,000?
Yeah, exactly.
One farm?
Yeah, one barn. And then there's multiple barns on that farm. So it's, you enter and it's huge. I mean, it's just like,
64,000?
it's walls. It's like walls of chickens,
Wow.
you know, perched in rows, or like some of them, like, we went in at night, obviously. So
Yeah.
they're sleeping and then they waking up a little bit. And so it's just, you just see the scale. And it's a never ending scale because it keeps going in the dark. And I've taken shots like that.
Yeah.
And what is really important for people to understand, that these are individuals.
Yeah.
So it's not just 64,000 hens, it's 64,000 times one individual that is suffering in that environment, that is exploited. And of course you have some that struggle. A lot of them were, you know, sick, without feathers, struggling.
Yeah.
And Animal Rising conducted some open rescue that night.
They saved them?
One of them was saved.
When you mentioned they're without feathers, is that because it's a lot for them to keep producing these eggs for their bodies? It takes them a lot.
So I'm not a veterinarian, so I'm not going to comment really on the health conditions, but you can see that this is not healthy for them. They're not in a good place. They're not in a good shape. You do have dead animals that you see, dead birds, and the ammonia, the amount of ammonia that is, it's really, really getting to you. Like, it's hard to breathe. It's, you know, your eyes are just, you know, struggling. So it's a lot.
It's a heck
Yeah. And again, this
is a high welfare.
high welfare RSPCA assured egg farm in the UK.
And when you say the free range was access to outdoors,
Yeah.
can you explain what that looks like?
That looks like kind of like a kind of like a door.
Okay.
Where that it's open, that would be open in the
Yeah.
daytime, and so they can go outside.
Okay.
Which is, of course, better than nothing, but it's just,
Do you know?
we're still talking about confinement. We're still talking about, you know, a life of exploitation. We're still talking about...
it's not the image that people want to believe that they have of them being happy in the sun, and like how a chicken in a farm, in a farm sanctuary lives. That's
completely different.
Yeah,
of
that's
course.
how they think what these eggs come from. Like, you know, they think that the chicken is happily roaming around.
We don't need eggs. I mean, like, we don't need
And
this
it's
stuff.
disgusting. I mean, once I had to I was making a reel, and I had to look up footage of a chicken laying the egg. So it was like a close up of a chicken laying the egg.
Yeah.
And it like looked very painful, and it like comes out of her body. She like poops it out, and it's like also really nasty to like watch that happen. And then to think about the actual where like how the egg is made, it's like literally the ovulation that like we as women have, they also have. Like literally the egg is that ovulation. It's like that like but for them they ovulate it out, and like that's then what we eat. Like the whole thing is like once you start thinking about it, it's
and again, like,
so nasty.
I'm not encouraging people, I'm not telling people what to do, okay, but I'm always coming from the place of this is what you should know. And what really drives me mad is not just like, oh, I have egg here and there. It's like, let's put 6 eggs in the pancake recipe, and let's put eggs in the cake, and let's put egg like here and there, and it's non-stop. We're just like this.
it's not needed. Like
It's not needed in so many of these things. Like,
it's crazy because like you can bake so easily without egg, and people think they don't know how to make a pancake without an egg. It's like so easy. You just use baking soda. Like, I don't know.
There's no issue whatsoever.
It
Exactly.
literally, and tofu scramble is the best. So
it is.
I know. It's that's the most horrific part, is when you're entering these facilities and you're seeing everything that happens, and you know that it's so unnecessary.
It's unnecessary.
You know,
this is why it's called cruelty.
Yeah.
It's cruel because it is unnecessary.
Yeah.
We don't need to do that.
Yeah.
And it's, you know, again, it's destroying.
Exactly.
It's destroying our humanity. It's destroying our values. It's destroying people's spirituality. It's disconnecting us from everything, from each other. It's just condoning violence at all levels.
Yeah.
In a way that is just not acceptable. And that's the thing, you know, like I know people will say, oh, but it's just animals. It's the way it is and blah, blah. But as soon as you know, condone violence to animals, or, you know, you destroy a river and you destroy trees and land, you know, like, oh, then people are suddenly surprised that we have a climate crisis, that we have an ethical crisis, that we have a social crisis,
Yeah.
that the world is violent, but it's everything is connected.
All oppression is interlinked.
Yeah, exactly.
For real.
And so for me, like what I want to say, and I said that somewhere else, but it's really important. In my work, I try to not speak about sustainability anymore because even if it was sustainable, it's not okay. And for me, like if it's not ethical, it's not sustainable. Violence is not sustainable. And that's something that I wish people understood more.
Yeah.
Like we can't continue to do that.
Yeah.
We should not continue to do that. And even if it was okay for the planet, it's not okay to do that to animals.
Yeah.
That's the crisis of ethics that we are having that we need to address.
I know. For sure. It's I totally agree that every animal is a living sentient being that, you know, we should treat with respect and care, and eating them is the opposite of that.
There's something completely sick about forcing an animal to life just to kill them.
Yeah.
This is wild to me that this is the system that we live in, that you have this constant assault on life, this war on life that we are waging against the most vulnerable.
Yes, yeah.
Against the animals.
Most innocent.
Yeah, the most innocent. And then for me, it's very much like the crisis that we are having also with child abuse. The crisis that we are having with women violence is this idea of
oppression,
exploitation, and, you know, just, again, normalizing violence against the most vulnerable. Like when
normalizing violence, literally.
It's true. Like one of the first pig farms that I entered, for me, what was really, really shocking was that a factory farm is literally hell.
Yeah.
And when we think of hell, we think of bad guys, bad people burning in hell because they did bad things. But it's literally a hell where you have angels. You have the most innocent beings, babies and mothers, who don't understand why they're there for.
Yeah.
And this is, to me, that's like, it's a mindfuck.
Yeah. And they are so innocent. Like, and I think someone made a reel about this. Like, why do we farm the animals that we farm? And it's literally because, like, they don't resist.
It's easy. They're gentle.
It's the beagles also. Like, the same thing why beagles are the ones we tested on, because they're the most gentle dogs, and the same with the farm animals. Like,
because we can.
Yeah.
Because
cows and...
Because they're small. There's a project I'm working on, I don't know how much I can talk about, but something that needs to be addressed as well is the pet industry. And not just dogs and cats. I'm talking about all the other little pets, the rabbits, the hamsters. These are factory farms too.
Yeah.
But you see, like, tiny, tiny cages.
Yeah.
And it's like, the scale is also equally horrific. Yeah, it's just the standard across all industries, whether it's the pet industry, the animal testing industries, you know, the food industry.
Yeah.
Captivity, everything. It's just like an unfathomable thing that we are doing at scale. Yeah. That is really hard to comprehend.
It's so crazy because humans, I feel like compassion is instinctual to us, but instead we've created this system of oppression.
I know. I feel like what I talk about is so dark. Like, I'm actually also very fun, by the way. Like, I'm actually a happy person.
I know that about you.
I know, right? But it's just like, I'm like, you know, I just keep talking about stuff that is so dark and so...
But it's educational, so I'm thankful for you to be sharing this on the podcast.
No, thank you. Yeah. And I think it's important, and again, people have a right to know and have that information, because only when you have the information you can have freedom of choice. Otherwise, you're not free, right?
Exactly.
You're just conditioned, and you're just doing things because whatever conditioning people told you, you think, or you're too scared to change, or whatever it is. And I feel like change is not becoming someone else, is becoming who you are. And so having access to information, but also really reflecting on these things and deciding for yourself, okay, what do I want to participate in? Do I want to be a participant in this equation of violence, or do I want to remove myself from that? And if you do, like for me, when I did, I just became who I really am, which feels really good. So
that's beautiful.
Yeah, I mean, it's painful too to be aware and conscious of these things, but I would choose every day painful truth over blissful ignorance.
I love that you said this, because it's really like about getting people to reconnect with who they really are and what they really care about.
Feeling aligned with
Yeah.
your values
Yeah.
and knowing that every day in the best of your own capacity, you make choices in a conscious manner and not because you're a mindless zombie. And when I say that, I don't say that accusatory to people. I just say I used to be. I feel like I was sleepwalking before.
I know,
for real.
right?
Like, and you have the mind fog as well because you're putting that in
Yeah.
your body and your body is not operating on its optimum level. So I really feel like, okay, it feels like I was in a slumber and then I woke up and then I became who I am.
Yeah.
And yeah, of course, things escalated quite a bit from there. But I
No, it's
don't regret it
beautiful.
for 1 second.
Amazing. Well,
Yeah.
thank you so much. I could talk to you for hours.
Yeah, we
Maybe there'll
can.
be a part 2 of this.
No, we should. Exactly.
Yes. Okay, so how can people connect with you and reach you? Just another.
Yeah, I think the best is honestly Instagram.
Yeah.
Or Loviconi.
Yes. Perfect.
Yeah, I do read my DMs. Don't be weird. But if I have people reaching out saying, how can I start photography? How can I do? What can I do? How can I get involved? And things like that. Like, I do read them and I do answer in the best of, again, my own capacity.
Perfect.
And again, it's just because I do that, it doesn't mean like everybody should do that. It's more like find the way where you can use your skills, your passion, and something that is sustainable to you to get involved, because this world is desperately in need of help. And whatever it is, I mean, animals do need us, but it's people need us too. And I think if we can find a way that we help people without hurting animals, and we help animals without hurting people, right? And likewise, like it's all connected. So I just wish that more people can get involved. And it's, do what you can, do the best you can where you are with what you have.
100%.
That would be my message.
Well, thank you so much, Rebecca, and I'm so excited for your next documentary, and I can't wait for the impact it's going to have on the world.
Oh,
So
thank you. No, but I'm excited to release it because it's exciting and it's beautiful. I love it. So,
Thank you. And thank you to everyone for tuning in, and see you next time.
See you.
Bye.
Thank you so much for tuning in today, and I hope that you enjoyed the episode. If you did, it would really mean the world to me if you could rate the podcast and hit follow or subscribe so you stay updated on new episodes. Thanks again for listening, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye.